All right, everyone, Joe Biden managed to do it again. Why am I not surprised? It seems to be a repetitive feature of his asterisk administration. He's going on his visit right now to Asia. He's doing a little bit of a pivot there because, of course, he hasn't accomplished anything in Eastern Europe except to get Ukraine invaded and hazarded half off the face of the earth. So he decided to go to Korea. Normal state visit. I mean, I notice he and Kamala, neither of them have visited the U.S. border yet. They're very interested in the Korean border, the Ukrainian border, all of these other flashpoints in the world, except for the one that most erodes their support, which shows the stupidity of the narrative and the strategy of the current administration. Really, they're dumb. I realize there's a lot of malevolence there, but if you're going to be malevolent, you need to have reasonable optics. You need to have a reasonable strategy to pitch that malevolence to people in order to abuse them. He's not good at sloganeering. Neither is Kamala. They're rarely seen in public. When he does, he makes a fool of himself. Fast forward to now. Link in the description. Archived, of course. He has a message for Kim Jong-un. And he was asked what that message would be. He's not going to North Korea like Trump did, which was his historical victory in diplomacy and severely de-escalated tensions on the Korean peninsula. Till, the last part of the Trump presidency, things got a little wonky because I think Kim Jong-un realized that the fix was in, honk honk, and so he wouldn't have to deal with Trump anymore actually attempting a rapprochement. What is Biden's message for the supposedly evil dictator who's trying to build bombs and kill everyone in the world? That's, the insane actor line is propaganda, but that's what we're told by the wonks in D.C., that Kim Jong-un actually believes he was born of a unicorn under 50 rainbows while the earth stood still. They actually believe that he believes these things, that you do realize that he alone in North Korea does have internet access. He might shitpost on the internet for all we know, and you wouldn't know. He was educated in Switzerland. He has been outside of his country in China before. His message is a single word: hello. Period. Biden's trying to do the strongman thing when he says that, and you know that that's what it is. This is the I'm a strong statesman. I'll get tough with Kim Jong-un. I'll tell him hello, and he can say hello back, but he'd better not try anything shifty. Meanwhile, Kim Jong-un, again, who is aware of the outside world, it's called the Hermit Kingdom because all the people there live like hermits, not because Kim Jong-un doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's looking at Ukraine, and the Western response to that and saying they can't sanction me if I do anything. If I fire off rockets and they file off sanctions, it doesn't matter. The only one I trade with is China anyway. China will continue to buy our goods, and then they'll sell them on the black market as though they came from somewhere else to avoid further power harassment from U.S. companies that are reliant on our minerals. And we'll get our rice and our beans and shit, and our people won't starve, and everything will be fine. Effectively, China maintains them like a guard dog. They're the guardian of the Korean peninsula to prevent China's flank from being endangered. They don't want a land border with a united Korea because then there'd be a landing spot, a really nice beachhead for Japanese forces in retaliation for maybe a dust-up in Taiwan. Maybe if they go after the Spratlys and there's a naval engagement accidentally or something, they don't want the U.S. to be able to expand right next to the Chinese border. Right now, the majority of China's neighbors would be reluctant to host such things. They try to keep about an air of neutrality, even if more and more China is pissing them off. This is not how diplomacy is conducted. We saw the difference. Here's why Biden fails, and I pointed this out for years with regards to Trump and the interplay with Obama as well. It is a similar style of diplomacy to Biden, except that Obama could actually speak a full sentence most of the time. Here's why Trump succeeded, and here's why Obama and Biden failed. Trump understands the boardroom and has done business in East Asia. And the long story short is that Westerners, people from the US, Western Europe and stuff, they tend to get along and have similar strategies of diplomacy. They sit down, they compliment one another, they feed each other expensive food, etc., and they get together and pretend to be chums and pals, and they play some tennis, and then they go to Epstein Island together sometimes, and then that's how deals are made. U.S. President goes to France, sit down and eat the eclair and drink some wine and talk about, I love French art, I love this architecture. What's it called again? And they come to the United States and they get hamburgers and stuff like that. And that's the whole point. That's not the way it works in Asian politics. In Asian politics, it's much more solemn. There is much more self-aggrandizement. You've got to look the big man. Now, you don't openly insult others, and if you are offered insult, it's a challenge. You have to respond in kind. Westerners have a problem with that. Obama goes to China. China refuses to roll out the carpet, doesn't even send a single envoy to greet him in his last state visit to China. All of China laughed at him when he did not immediately get back on the plane, leave, and fire off a letter saying this is a grave form of disrespect and I expected better of you. It was an opportunity to show up the Chinese diplomatically, and Obama didn't take it. What did Trump do? Trump, when the DPRK did its normal thing, which is part of the diplomatic effort, you've got to understand, and I loved it that Obama's people said this effectively about Iran. Well, when they say kill the great Satan, it's a form of endearment. It would literally be the case for the DPRK more than for Iran. Although Iran is technically Pan-Asian politics, there is an aspect there. It's not the same in the undeveloped, especially Asiatic world as it is in the West. It's just never going to be the same. What Trump did was he issued a threat of his own. Well, yeah, Rocket Man, which can be a term of both endearment and an insult, which is the perfect mix for the situation in Korean politics. It's humorous, but it could be taken as a negative. I've got a little red button on my desk too, and it actually works. Effectively saying, piss off. It was the perfect response. People thought it was going to start World War III. Which kind of politicking has actually started regional wars at the moment? The weakness, fecklessness, and Western European, North American diaspora-style body politic of Obama and Biden? Or the strongman, I understand Asian geopolitics and business side with Trump? Things seemed a lot better under Trump now, didn't they? Yeah, we are on the eve of destruction. It's not because evil orange man, he pissed off our allies, he set the stage for all these things, he helped the Russians do this. No. It's because Russia doesn't give a fucking shit about your Western European politics. You've effectively kicked them out of the Eurozone concept. And so they've retreated more towards Eastern mentality. As that happens, they're going to revert more and more towards Tsarism sort of stuff. They will not be part of the Western politic in terms of diplomatic style. The same is true of China, although they've been going in that direction for years. Economically, they went in the other direction, which is why they're rich now. North Korea, very briefly, had a rapprochement with South Korea. Trump got it going. Biden goes to Korea, and the first thing he does is fail his first diplomatic test with Kim Jong-un. There will be no peace talks for the rest of his asterisk administration. Kim Jong-un will probably retaliate against this by firing off more missiles, because he's Korean. He's not from Delaware. He's not living in Scranton as a kid like bumbling trailer trash Joe Biden did. There's an entirely different body politic involved, and lots of these people in D.C., they just don't get it. Because they never did an honest day's work in their life, nor did they ever study anything about actual anthropology and geopolitics. They don't understand much about the differentiation between human culture. They can't even admit to it in public. If they come out and they say to their Biden, to the liberal and leftoid voters, yeah, there are fundamental differences between these two cultures. Shrieking! Oh my God, that sounds so racist. This old white dude just doesn't get it. We're all basically cogs. We're all basically identical. And we're all getting thrown in the meat grinder. And God damn it, that's a good thing because at last we've got equity. And that's basically what they want too. Yeah, communism. Everyone's equally miserable. Globalism's headed in that same direction. Except for the elite. If you're in the 1% of the 1%, then you're basically a god king at this point. That's about all. Peace out.